The 6-foot rule for ground fault circuit interrupter receptacle protection in kitchens and bathrooms was established to minimize the risk of electrical shock from appliances and tools that could fall into water. While some argue that this rule is outdated, there are several reasons why it remains important. Firstly, safety concerns. In a kitchen, appliances such as blenders, toasters, and microwaves can be used near the sink. If an appliance falls into water, it can create an electrical shock hazard. In a bathroom, electrical appliances like hair dryers and electric toothbrushes are often used near water sources. The 6-foot rule helps ensure that these appliances have ground fault circuit interrupter protection even if they are not directly over the sink. Secondly, exceptions to the rule. The 6-foot rule does not apply to certain fixed-in-place appliances, such as refrigerators, dishwashers, and ovens. These appliances are typically hardwired and do not pose the same risk of falling into water. Thirdly, countertop receptacles. While it may seem counterintuitive to require ground fault circuit interrupter protection for countertop receptacles that are not within 6 feet of a sink, it is important to consider the potential for water spills. Water can easily splash or drip onto countertops, and appliances such as coffee makers and toasters can be placed near the edge of the counter. The 6-foot rule ensures that these appliances are protected even if they are not directly over the sink. Fourthly, a 10-foot rule. Increasing the distance to 10 feet with no exceptions would significantly reduce the number of ground fault circuit interrupter receptacles required in kitchens and bathrooms. However, this would also increase the risk of electrical shock hazards. Appliances and tools could be used further away from water sources, making it less likely that they would fall into water. However, it would also increase the potential for someone to come into contact with an energized conductor in the event of a fault. The 6-foot rule may not be perfect. It remains an important safety measure to minimize the risk of electrical shock hazards in kitchens and bathrooms. It is important to consider the potential for water spills and the use of appliances and tools near water sources when installing ground fault circuit interrupter receptacles. Increasing the distance to 10 feet with no exceptions is not recommended due to the increased risk of electrical shock. The purpose of ground fault circuit interrupters is to protect people from electrical shock. They work by monitoring the current flowing in a circuit. If there is a difference of even a few milliamps between the current flowing into the circuit and the current flowing out, the ground fault circuit interrupter will trip, cutting off the power. This happens very quickly, typically in a fraction of a second, which is fast enough to prevent serious injury or death. Ground fault circuit interrupters are required in areas where there is a high risk of electrical shock, such as kitchens, bathrooms, and outdoor locations. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, specifies where ground fault circuit interrupters are required. The NEC is a set of standards developed by the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, and is widely adopted in the United States. It's important to consult the latest version of the NEC for the most up-to-date requirements. There are two main types of ground fault circuit interrupters. These are receptacle-type ground fault circuit interrupters, which are installed in place of a standard electrical receptacle, and circuit breaker-type ground fault circuit interrupters, which are installed in the electrical panel. Receptacle-type ground fault circuit interrupters are typically used to protect individual receptacles or a small group of receptacles, while circuit breaker-type ground fault circuit interrupters are used to protect entire circuits. When choosing a ground fault circuit interrupter, it is important to select one that is rated for the voltage and amperage of the circuit it will be protecting. Ground fault circuit interrupters are typically rated for 120 volts or 240 volts and 15 amps or 20 amps. It is also important to choose a ground fault circuit interrupter that is listed by a recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories or EUL. This ensures that the ground fault circuit interrupter has been tested and meets safety standards. The installation of ground fault circuit interrupters should be done by a qualified electrician. This is because working with electricity can be dangerous, and it is important to follow all safety precautions. When installing a ground fault circuit interrupter, the electrician will first turn off the power to the circuit. Then, they will remove the existing receptacle or circuit breaker and replace it with the ground fault circuit interrupter. Finally, they will test the ground fault circuit interrupter to make sure it is working properly. Ground fault circuit interrupters should be tested regularly to ensure that they are functioning correctly. The manufacturer's instructions will provide guidance on how to test a ground fault circuit interrupter. Typically, this involves pressing the test button on the ground fault circuit interrupter. If the ground fault circuit interrupter trips, it is working properly. If it does not trip, it should be replaced. In addition to the 6-foot rule, there are other requirements for ground fault circuit interrupter protection in kitchens and bathrooms. For example, all receptacles serving countertop surfaces within 6 feet of a sink must be ground fault circuit interrupter protected. Also, all receptacles in bathrooms must be ground fault circuit interrupter protected, regardless of their proximity to a sink. These requirements are in place to provide a high level of safety in areas where there is a high risk of electrical shock. The NEC also addresses the use of arc fault circuit interrupters, or FSIs. These devices are designed to protect against fires caused by electrical arcs. Arc fault circuit interrupters are required in many areas of the home, including bedrooms, living rooms, and dining rooms. The combination of ground fault circuit interrupters and arc fault circuit interrupters provides a comprehensive level of electrical safety. Ground fault circuit interrupters protect against electrical shock, while arc fault circuit interrupters protect against fires. Both devices are important for ensuring the safety of your home and family. When planning electrical work in your home, it is always best to consult with a qualified electrician. They can help you determine the specific requirements for your area and ensure that the work is done safely and correctly. The electrician will be familiar with the local electrical codes and the latest version of the NEC. They can also provide advice on the best way to protect your home from electrical hazards. The NEC is updated every 3 years, so it is important to stay current with the latest changes. The NFPA offers training and resources to help electricians and other professionals stay up to date on the NEC. They also publish the NEC Handbook, which provides explanations and examples to help clarify the requirements. Understanding the NEC and following its guidelines is essential for ensuring electrical safety. By taking the time to learn about electrical safety, you can help protect yourself and your family from electrical hazards. The 6-foot rule is just one aspect of electrical safety, but it is an important one. By understanding why this rule is in place, you can make informed decisions about the placement of receptacles in your home. Remember, electrical safety is not just about following the rules, it is about understanding the risks and taking steps to mitigate them. Ground fault circuit interrupters are an important part of that equation. They provide a critical layer of protection against electrical shock, and they should be used in all areas where there is a high risk of electrical shock. If you have any questions about ground fault circuit interrupters or electrical safety, consult with a qualified electrician. They can provide you with the information and advice you need to make your home safe. Consider a scenario where a homeowner is renovating their kitchen. They are planning to install a new sink and countertop. They are also planning to add some new receptacles to the countertop. The homeowner should be aware of the 6-foot rule and ensure that all receptacles within 6 feet of the sink are ground fault circuit interrupter protected. They should also consult with an electrician to ensure that the work is done safely and correctly. Another scenario is a homeowner who is experiencing problems with their ground fault circuit interrupters. The ground fault circuit interrupters are tripping frequently, or they are not tripping when they should be. The homeowner should consult with an electrician to diagnose the problem and make any necessary repairs. It is important to address any problems with ground fault circuit interrupters promptly to ensure that they are providing the necessary protection. Ground fault circuit interrupters are a valuable safety device, but they are not a substitute for safe electrical practices. It is still important to follow basic electrical safety rules, such as not using electrical appliances near water, not overloading circuits, and not using damaged electrical cord. By following these rules, you can further reduce your risk of electrical shock. It is also important to teach children about electrical safety. Children should be taught not to play with electrical outlets or cords, and they should be taught to stay away from electrical appliances when they are wet. By educating children about electrical safety, you can help them avoid electrical hazards. Electrical safety is a shared responsibility. Homeowners, electricians, and manufacturers all have a role to play in ensuring that electrical systems are safe. By working together, we can create a safer environment for everyone. The ongoing discussion about the 6-foot rule highlights the importance of regularly reviewing and updating electrical codes to reflect changes in technology and safety practices. As new appliances and electrical devices are developed, it is important to assess their potential risks and ensure that the electrical codes are adequate to protect people from those risks. The NEC is a dynamic document that is constantly evolving to meet the changing needs of the electrical industry. The process of updating the NEC involves input from a wide range of stakeholders, including electricians, engineers, manufacturers, and consumers. This ensures that the NEC reflects the best available knowledge and practices. The 6-foot rule is just one example of how the NEC is used to protect people from electrical hazards. There are many other requirements in the NEC that address various aspects of electrical safety. By following the NEC, electricians can ensure that electrical systems are installed and maintained safely. The NEC is a valuable resource for anyone who is involved in electrical work. It provides a comprehensive set of standards and guidelines for ensuring electrical safety. Whether you are a homeowner, an electrician, or a manufacturer, you should be familiar with the NEC and follow its requirements. In conclusion, the 6-foot rule is an important safety measure that helps to protect people from electrical shock hazards in kitchens and bathrooms. While there may be arguments for readdressing the rule, it is important to consider the potential risks of increasing the distance to 10 feet or eliminating the rule altogether. Ground fault circuit interrupters are a valuable safety device, and they should be used in all areas where there is a high risk of electrical shock. By following the NEC and practicing safe electrical habits, you can help to protect yourself and your family from electrical hazards.